Canucks and BC Lions. Hughes Sports Podcast. We're taking the lead, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 74 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. How are you doing today?
I'm out of breath. I was dancing. Did you see? I was doing the chair dancing to our song.
I did see that dancing. However, we need to interrupt your dancing because we do have breaking news here on the show. It has been reported
Breaking news.
by Elliot Friedman a mere 5 minutes ago that Mikheyev has waived his no trade clause. For the last hour or so, we've been waiting to hear what was going on. He has
Tell
waived
us
it to
what
go
the
to
trade is, Jake.
He is traded to go to the Blackhawks. The rumored trade. Again, this is all rumors right now because there's nothing officially out.
It's literally breaking as we talk.
As we talk, I'm constantly refreshing Twitter, X, whatever it is you want to call it. To the Blackhawks, supposedly is Ilya Mikheyev, a 2025 second round pick, and pending UFA Sam Lafferty. The Canucks receive a 4th round pick in 2027. That's it. It's the end of the trade. We're done.
Or is it?
Well, sorry, I'm reading things as we go. Thomas Drance has confirmed that Mikheyev has waived his no trade clause and approved the trade to Chicago, expecting the original deal to go through shortly. Which the original deal is the deal that I just laid out. No retention on Mikheyev.
No retention.
No retention on Mikheyev.
Oh. So we just dumped how much? $5 million?
$5 million.
But now, before we came to air, oh no, you were talking, didn't you say we were getting someone back?
No, that was a typo from Elliot Friedman. It's been a long day, and he apologized for the confusion.
Oh, okay, because you had me confused. So we're just getting a 4th round draft pick out of this.
A 2027 4th round draft pick, and as Reed puts in the chat, $4.75 million in cap space.
Wow.
Meaning, I believe our cap space now is about $25 million.
How much?
Heading in $25 million.
Is that now? Are you taking in the signings we've done?
That's including the signings we've already done,
including the latest signing that was today, which blew me away how little that signing was for, which was what?
Teddy Bluger re-signs for a 2-year, $1.8 million annual average value contract, meaning $1.8 million for a third-line center who got the most out of Garland.
Yeah.
We now have cap space to look at someone like Gensel. Also to look at Zadorov, who's also a Milstein client, which is Ilya Mikheyev's client, waived the no trade clause to get this done for. And might even have enough space to potentially take another shot at Dakota Joshua to keep that line Bluger, Garland, and Joshua together.
Wow.
Lots of things are happening. Lots of things are still cooking.
And we said once the Stanley Cup was done that we would head into some crazy times, and here it is, like just a couple days out. Day out. When was the playoffs?
Monday was the
So a couple days out, and I couldn't remember what day it was. And things are happening. I think this is just the beginning. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I don't think so. We have the draft starting Friday. We have the NHL awards starting tomorrow. Then we have the long weekend, July 1st landing on a Monday, which is just perfect timing because that is free agent opening day, free agent frenzy starting on July 1st, which means there's rumors that Canucks are still in on Gensel. There are also rumors being thrown around, very loose rumors that that Marner is being moved from Toronto, and that the Canucks have at least kicked tires, as all teams should. Let's just put this out there.
Yeah.
All teams should be asking what that asking price is. There's also,
there was also a
Reed's-
rumor about somebody from Edmonton, and sorry, my mind is blank. They actually put out odds of where he would end up, and there's 3-1 odds he was going to end up in Boston. I saw it on Twitter, and
Was it Draisaitl?
yeah, maybe it was.
I would still be shocked. I'd be shocked if Draisaitl's moved.
They didn't win.
They came one game within winning.
They came
within one bounce of winning. One inch of two of those shots that hit the post. That puck goes in, and we might still be playing in overtime for all we know.
We still could be playing in overtime.
However, in my refreshing of Twitter, I need to share this with everyone. If you are just listening to the podcast, again, there's a reason why we always tell you that you need to also watch the show.
All right.
For those just hearing, it is Roberto Luongo sitting with the Stanley Cup with a plate
He's
of
eating
spaghetti.
a Stanley Cup. Oh my God!
Just got fresh Parmesan put on and is eating what looks to be homemade spaghetti.
It's
like those are big thick noodles.
Those are some big ass noodles. I think it's some kind of linguine.
No, linguine's more flat. That's definitely
that was
spaghetti.
pretty flat. That was a flat noodle.
That was a homemade spaghetti noodle.
Lou. Has anybody ever eaten spaghetti out of the Stanley Cup before?
Oh, I'm sure.
That is a trivia question.
People have eaten poutine out of it.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Oh, that's funny. Ellison just messaged me, and she said she was planning to listen to the show tonight, but she has no idea how.
Well, you can head to Twitter. You can check us out at HSP_pod. You can also go to YouTube, search in Hughes Sports Podcast, because unfortunately, Facebook has decided to fuck around and find out we can't go live to Facebook anymore. So goodbye, Facebook. We don't.
Well, we go to Facebook.
Live, we don't go
what
live.
we do is we go to Facebook, and
someone's supposed to do
click
that,
on the Hughes Sports Podcast, and then we click there, and we click there, and guess where we send them?
Straight to YouTube or Twitter,
where Facebook could have had all our viewers watching on there, but they chose not to. We are live.
Just before we go too much further, Dan Milstein, the agent for Ilya Mikheyev, has officially tweeted out that Ilya Mikheyev is Blackhawks bound. Therefore, confirmation of the highest source that Ilya Mikheyev is now a Chicago Blackhawk, and we can put a nice little bow on that.
Well, is he not I believe it was Reed, wow, that mentioned that he was
Zadorov's agent as well.
Yes,
he is.
Interesting.
Grady Sass, producer of the Sakaris and Price Show, also tweeted out, nice tidy bit of business that Dan Milstein did to get Ilya Mikheyev to waive to go to the Blackhawks for this trade.
Well, because it kind of helps him, doesn't it?
Well, now do the Canucks turn around and
Sign
help him
Zadorov?
out? Get Zadorov a good deal.
Why not? Why wouldn't they?
Right? I think you should.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see what happens with all this cap space. Because let's go to Puckpedia. Because for those who do not know, if you weren't aware, you lived under a rock, you missed a show when we talked about it. Cap Friendly is being bought out by the Capitals.
Oh, yes.
That happens in effect right after free agency, I'm pretty sure. And that means when you go to Cap Friendly, it'll no longer be there. You'll have no information. Puckpedia.com is a great resource that does basically the same thing that Cap Friendly does in a slightly different way, has different values, but gives you everything you need.
What is it called?
Puckpedia, as in like Wikipedia, as an encyclopedia, but puck.
So Hamilton Steelhawks is saying that Zadorov and Joshua, is he saying that agent is agent for both Zadorov and Joshua?
Let's find out.
Because if that is the case, wow.
Let's find out, because Puckpedia has this lovely information system
where they'll tell us.
Where they actually will tell you, why is it not? Oh, it's.
So, folks, if you're just listening and you're not watching, once again, you're missing half the show. Because this is going to be a weird show, just so you know, because Jake's going to be like addicted to Twitter. And he's not going to pay attention that we're actually doing a live show, and he should be paying attention to the audience. But he's staring off into space.
You asked me to find information out, and I'm finding information out. This guy.
Don't stick your head at me, young fella.
This guy.
So, what are you trying to find?
Who his agent is?
Hey, Hamilton. Is Zadorov and Joshua got the same agent? And no. Hamilton will just magically punch 3 letters and say yes, or 2 letters and say no.
Richard Evans from Wasserman Hockey is Joshua's agent.
So he's just saying that we can go after Zadorov, because Zadorov has agreed, like, he wants to play in Vancouver. He's willing to take a hometown, quotation mark, hometown discount, even though it's not his hometown, obviously.
Well, and Dan Milstein has and company, like the agent speaking on behalf of Zadorov, has basically said, we're not in a rush to get things done. If it happens before July 1st, cool. If it happens after July 1st, great. But we're still in communication.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that's a good sign. We're trying to figure out cap space. We're trying to get all these pieces to work. If this happens, this will be the offer, or something along those lines. Or this is the offer. No, this is the offer. And they're far, in quotations, far apart. But both sides are going to be grumpy when they meet in the middle because they left money on the table. They spent too much. That's a good deal. Right?
Yeah.
Like when you have both sides being like, oh, we left a little bit on the table, and you have brain gone completely blank. When you have brain gone completely blank.
Yeah, completely blank. Completely
blank.
Squirrel.
Completely blank.
Squirrel. So now I guess the question is, where do we go from here?
Your guess is as good as mine. Like looking at the Canucks dashboard. So we'll have $20 million in cap space.
20 million in cap space.
Yeah.
That's it, probably taking away the Bluger 1.2. Who else did we sign?
Linus Karlsson at 775, Cole McWard at 775,
right.
Mark Friedman at 775. So those 3 players can be in-betweeners. So we could have an extra 2 point some odd $1 million.
Okay.
On top
Yeah.
of that.
Right. Makes sense. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens over the next little bit. Should we talk
Cool.
about this for a while?
Well, first let's finish up the Canucks talk. Let's wrap a little bow on it. Going into
Okay.
the draft, the Canucks do not pick until late in the day on Saturday. They don't have a pick until the third round.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just a dartboard.
Yeah. They're not going to
the-
get a whole bunch of
No,
right.
but you never know. You could. I mean, we've seen crazier things like Demko. I think went in the late second, early third round, if my memory is correct. So keep an eye on who they do draft, but don't hold your breath for them to be a impact player anytime soon.
No, I don't think that for us the draft isn't a consideration this year.
No.
Now trades during that draft could be a huge consideration.
Well, and this will be the last in-person draft for the NHL.
Which I think is just...
Think how much money they'll save.
Think how much money they'll lose. And I'll say it that way, though, because there's not that festival around it anymore. There won't be that festival around it anymore. People won't be going to Vegas, to the Sphere, to watch it, or to Nashville, or to wherever it is.
Yep.
I think it's wrong. I guess I'm just old school, and I like the in-person, the excitement of seeing them, the general manager walk up to the stage and make that announcement while the kids, they're kids. The kids are in the audience, and that excitement is funny. It reminds me, I was watching a show this evening before I came up. It's called All American, and it's loosely based on the life of Spencer Pay something. He was an NFL linebacker, and it's a story loosely based on his life. He was a linebacker. The name of the character is Spencer James, and he was touted to be picked in the first round in the top 3, and he didn't get picked. And just that excitement, and then that
to let down. Well,
let down when you're not.
Even think just last year, 2 years ago, when it was supposed to be Shane Wright that went first overall, and he was skipped over on the first pick. He was skipped over on the second pick, and then he was skipped over on the third pick. And the camera on him, you could tell he was visibly upset. And how can you not be? Like, you were touted, you're going first overall, and then all of a sudden you're not. Like, you do get that drama, but what's stopping them from still getting all the for the first round, people who are expected to be in the first round, getting them all together? No, get them all together so they can do the media rounds. They can walk on stage and hold the jersey. You don't need the GMs there to do that.
So you're saying have everybody there, just not the GMs? It's kind of defeating it.
One night. You still have all your fan festival. You do it on a Friday night.
Yeah,
right.
If they do that, then that would be I would be okay with that. But it doesn't sound like they're going to do that. It's like this is the last live draft.
They keep saying the last live draft with GMs in attendance. And that's why I'm very hesitant to say, because they haven't announced anything yet.
I don't think I've ever heard them say it that way, that it's a last live draft with GMs in attendance.
Bettman has a couple times.
Oh, really?
And he's very specific with his wording, like very, very litigious when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So the reason that's why it's been something that's been percolating in my brain is just because I heard him say that. So it's like, okay, is there a plan to bring in people? Is there a plan to still have live attendance, but no GMs?
Yeah.
Because that probably saves them thousands and thousands of dollars to only have to rent the building for one night, rather than having to rent it out for two nights, right? 3 days probably for the takedown the next day.
Exactly. It's
right. So
his last name was Paysinger. Just
Paysinger. There you go.
Just came to me. It was like a bubble went off, and I saw the name.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. That was that bubble blue by chance?
It was.
Oh,
it was a blue
shocking
bubble.
how that happens.
It's amazing how that happens. It's...
Let's talk. How do we want? Let's talk about what happened on Monday night. We're just moving past your blue bubble nonsense. Florida finally closes it out after having 4 chances to do so. And we got to see the thumbnail of the episode. We got to see Roberto Luongo finally lift up the cup and celebrate a Stanley Cup victory. You watched the game?
I did. It was funny because we weren't going to, but we both looked at each other and went, you know what? It was going to be history. It could have been history.
It still is history.
It still is history. It's just not as cool.
What are you talking about? I hate this connotation from Canadians. Let's take a step back here. A team that has been in the league for over 30 years just won its first cup.
Yeah.
That's way cooler.
It
over
is.
30 years.
It is cool. I don't disagree. This will put it into perspective for you where I'm coming from. As a Canadian, even though I didn't want Edmonton to win, it's win or bust. We talk about it during the World Juniors where we're like, silver medal in any other sport is awesome. Silver medal in hockey is a loser's medal.
Well, not just hockey, but in any competitive one team versus another team.
But hockey more so than anything else. If we won a silver in soccer, we'd be dancing in the streets with our flags.
100%.
Right? 100%. So again, 31 years, 32 years. What is it? 32 years without a cup for Canada now?
It will be 32 years.
32 years without a cup for Canada.
No, 30.
I love the conspiracy
31.
theorists because
31 years.
They're convinced Bettman has set this up. He has convinced every NHL team and every NHL official to come into this conspiracy with them and screw over Canada. I love it. I think it's awesome. If he could do that, look how powerful that man is. It's amazing.
Now, don't get me wrong. He is the most powerful man in hockey and probably the most powerful commissioner in all of sports.
Oh, without a doubt.
He cannot keep that a secret for this long. You know how you keep a secret between 3 people? 2 of them are dead.
It's true. It's literally.
And you're telling me he's got 32 teams and their organizations and all the refs in on this conspiracy.
And then, of course, you saw my post that I posted on Facebook, and then just the outrageous comments when I posted a picture of Luongo.
He didn't win the cup. Why is he celebrating with it? Neither did Paul Maurice. He was on the bench. The players won the cup. Paul Maurice still walked around with it. Bill Zito still walked around with it. Why wouldn't the coaching staff walk around with it? Right, guys, let's not forget Luongo is a member of the Florida Panthers organization.
It was so fun. I don't know. I'm not going to mention the person's name.
No,
but I just howled. It was like
I get being like, oh, he didn't win as a player. Like I get those types of comments, but to say his stats he didn't deserve a win because of the stats, motherfuckers. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. First ballot Hall of Famer, but his numbers weren't good enough to win a cup. Blow me.
He got us to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup's final. He won gold medal for Canada. Need I go on? Come on.
Winningest goaltender in Vancouver Canucks history.
Exactly. And then Vancouver screwed him like we do to every goalie we ever have had. So, but it was cool to see it. I'm not going to lie. When I saw him raise the cup, there was a tear in my eye. Ellison will be the witness. I was messaging with Reed the super fan Jackson, and he said, "I've been crying for the last 10 minutes."
I turned it off.
I was shocked that you said you were over it. And folks, that's what he said. I texted him
I
and he
was
says,
over it.
"I turned it off. I'm over it."
So you know what? Happy for Florida. Super happy for Luongo. I think the organization deserved it after this will be their third year in the Stanley Cup final.
Yep.
They deserved it. They've built a great team, a great organization, and they've built up from nothing to a fan base that is actually loyal and gives a shit.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Until it's my team, I don't care about the Stanley Cup celebration. I really don't. Who gets the cup first? Who cares?
I wanted to watch it.
If Quinn Hughes picks up the cup, that's when I'll give a damn.
I wanted to watch it just because I wanted to see first Luongo's reaction. I wasn't sure if he was going to make a joke out of it because being Strombone, you think he might, but just the pure joy in these guys' faces, the emotion in their voices when they're being interviewed. These are grown men at this point, and they're talking like they're literally just played a sport and won. And they're talking like they're literally saying it's the happiest day of my life. More so than getting married, more so than graduation, more so than getting drafted, more so than anything else.
Than a gold medal at the Olympics.
Like, it just shows how hockey is such a passionate sport. And I had this conversation with Ellison, and I told her that she doesn't understand it because she isn't passionate about hockey the way you and I are. And I use the word often, that you and I are passionate about our sports, especially hockey and football. That would be the two real passionate sports that we are passionate about, or the two sports we're passionate about. And it's just being raised with it, right? I mean, I remember my first memories still to this day is being very young and listening to Hockey Night in Canada, that music. It takes me back to my youth and sitting in the basement of our old house, black and white TV. And it was everything, like the whole family gathered around the TV and listened.
And you got to think, 45 years Luongo has been working towards this.
Yes.
45 years old. I guarantee you, since the time he was 3 or 4, he was probably playing hockey of some sort.
Yeah. Or learning to skate to begin with, right?
Yeah. Like, so let's say 40 years of working to this moment.
Yeah.
And was able to achieve it as not even a player, but as a coach, as a consultant.
See,
it's still huge.
That's when I'd love to sit down with a pro player like that, of that quality. And especially if you could sit down with him, not only him, but his parents as well, and ask the question, when did you realize
you had a real shot?
This was an actual chance. And then look at his parents and ask that same question. When did you guys realize, oh my God, we have something special here?
Well, I remember, like, my only experience with it is I went to school and graduated with Ty Ratty, who did play in the NHL. I came home in would have been grade 7.
It was, because we had just moved. You had just moved.
It was just before we moved.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was the summer before we moved.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't like, there was a summer hockey league or a spring league.
You were at the Twitter rinks, whatever it was.
Yeah, and Ty was on the ice, and it was just one of those, he was that much better than everyone, and he didn't look like he was trying.
Yeah.
That's not a shot at anyone else, but he was getting around people, scoring goals, and being like, yeah, I can do this like all day. And
he
didn't look like he was
much
trying.
Better than everybody else, and he wasn't trying.
And when I say wasn't trying, it didn't look like he was trying to be that much better than everyone else. It just was natural to him.
Exactly.
Did he put in the hours? Hell yeah.
Oh,
Did I ever see him at a party throughout high school? No.
No, of course not.
The occasional time you might see him, he might drop by, but he's gone before 10 o'clock because practice is at 5, which means he's got to be up at 3 and get a jog in before, right? Like, that's how dedicated these guys are. They don't get to have a normal upbringing.
No, not
At
at
16,
all.
at 16, they're drafted into a different hockey league.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. It is a different life. That's why I'd love to be able to sit down. Getting a type guest is harder than what you think, even though we're getting our numbers up, and I'm quite proud of that. Like, I'm just looking on Twitter, and we have over 90 people watching on Twitter right now. When we first started doing this, Jake, you and I had 2 or 3 people. It was like your mom, Dom, and then D joined us, right? And that was our weekly audience, and we still did. We haven't changed. We still did the same thing we're doing. It's cool now because people are starting to notice or respect it, and we're getting some A-line guests like we did with Harmon Dial, like we do with Matt Sakaris,
Rod Peterson, Jeff Patterson, like guys who are, when they tweet out insider information or tweet out thoughts, they get thousands and thousands of views and comments and likes.
Yeah.
When they're on a pod, they have their own podcast that get hundreds of thousands of views.
And it's cool because we are about to bring on, not this week, but in a couple of weeks, one of my heroes from the BC Lions. We're not going to mention his name, but he was quite the show with the BC Lions organization, and you can tell I'm overly excited about it.
Yeah, but getting to that point, it's like that's just if there's a player that you want to see on the show, whether it's from the CFL, from the NHL, tag us, mention us in the comments, let us know, because
we'll go after
them. Tag them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, the old man has a lifetime achievement of trying to get Kevin Bieksa on the show.
Well, I know he's watching.
He's one of our many viewers, I'm sure. Before we go into the CFL, because we've already spent 30 minutes talking NHL when this was supposed to be a quick
and squirrel stuff. Come on.
Yeah, well, but in the NHL world, the NHL's announced 4 rule changes coming into the 24-25 season.
I didn't hear any of this.
That's because, as you said, you actually have to work for a living, and I get to sit on a computer all day. Overview of the changes very quickly. Situation subject coaches challenge. Coaches can now challenge puck over ice.
Oh.
The caveat to it is coaches challenge will now be permitted to take down a penalty for puck out of play. This will only apply to delay of game penalties when the puck is determined to have deflected off a player's stick, glass, or boards, and not a judgment call on how the puck left the defensive zone. So, if it's a judgment call saying no, that he swung on the puck and hit it, that was intentional, that's a judgment call. That's not challengeable. But if that tipped off of the glass and went out, you can challenge that.
Oh.
So, however, if you fail that, you put your team down another man because the initial penalty for delay a game still stands. You then receive another delay a game penalty for puck over glass. And now it's a 5-on-3 in most instances. So you have to be very sure that if you're challenging for that, it's actually been deflected out of play.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So that call that we discussed at length wouldn't be challengeable.
I don't believe so, because that wasn't a deflected off a player's stick, glass, or boards. That was a judgment call.
It's a judgment call. Cool. Okay.
The second rule change is the line change following dislodged net. There's an adjustment to the rules so that defensive team cannot make a line change in the event its goaltender accidentally dislodges the net.
Oh, so okay, so you can't.
Before it used to be like only if players accidentally dislodge net, you couldn't change your lines. Now it's just expanded to include your goalies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Face-off procedures. Following an icing, the offensive center also now will receive 1 warning, same as the defensive player, for a face-off violation. So normally, go to place the puck, they move, defensive team gets the 1 warning. Now, the offensive team, instead of waving them out, they get 1 warning, and then it'll be a penalty.
Oh, wow.
So on either side. Unsportsmanlike conduct. The referee will now provide the offending team with 1 warning regarding players sitting on the boards. After 1 warning in a game, the team precipitating the warning will be issued a bench minor for future violations.
Sitting on the boards.
You're not allowed. So a player goes, like you're about to change and you decide not, and you're waiting to change. You're not allowed to sit on the boards.
Oh, and they do that quite often, don't they?
So now they'll get 1 warning. On that warning, you warn both benches as the referee. The next team to do it, that's a penalty instantly.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So minor changes to the rules, but I did want to touch on it before.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Now, before we jump into our lovely CFL coverage, I want to shout out Charlie here in the YouTube chat. Because Charlie, first time chatter, we appreciate you jumping in. And not only that, he's also asking you guys to do us a huge favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to support the channel. We do love you very much, Charlie. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you appreciated the fact that Paul Maurice did shout out the Winnipeg Jets after winning the cup. Thought it was very classy. Matthew Tkachuk calling out the Calgary Flames, and Roberto Luongo calling out the Vancouver. 3 of the Western Canadian teams got shout outs.
I love it.
The 4th one I don't think would have been too honest. So
yeah.
Before we jump into the CFL coverage, did you want to talk about we're hoping to have an ad for this week. We don't have it, but our sponsor for the show.
Sponsor for the show is Rangeland RV. Yes, that's where I work, folks. I sell RVs for a living. And if you're in the market for an RV, for the next 2 days, we are still having our 2.99% financing on all 2023 tow behinds or fifth wheels, any trailer. On anything that's non-motorized, is you get 2.99% financing. If you're looking for a C-Class or an A-Class motorhome, now is your time. We've just got some new C-Class in from Sunseeker. They're freaking amazing. You got to come out and see them. So, again, in Balzac, right behind Century Downs Racetrack and Casino, just down the road from Costco. Give me a call. Give me a shout. Message me anywhere on any of our social medias. I'll get the message.
Yes. Now, let's jump into the week that was in the CFL. It was a super fun week. We're going to get to that eventually. We'll get to that eventually. First, on Thursday night, we had the Ottawa Redblacks going into Montreal, and Montreal proving that they are indeed the top team in the East.
Wow. Spanking.
The biggest score differential we've had in the CFL this year.
Yes.
By far. It just like the Owls got out to an early lead. I did not watch this game, but from what I understand, the Owls got out to a lead and just kept going.
They did not let the foot off the gas. Yeah, it was nice. It was definitely all the naysayers that saying, "Oh, the Owls got lucky." What's his name? The quarterback, Fajardo. Well, he was lucky. No. What did Rod Peterson say, Jake?
Death, taxes, and Cody Fajardo.
Yes, and I think that's just going to continue all year. I think they're the team to beat in the East by far.
I agree. Yeah, as I didn't watch the game, I watched very quick highlights. Don't have much to talk about stats wise or anything on this one, but the Owls just kind of dominated their way to the win.
Yes.
Next, we had the Lions going into Winnipeg and winning by a score of 26-24 in what I thought was going to probably be the closest game of the week until the following night happened. But I'm going to be honest, I did only watch the end of the third and fourth quarter because I went and watched Inside Out 2, which if you are going to watch a movie, a very cute movie to watch. Then I watched the last little bit of the Florida Panthers losing to the Oilers. And then I finally turned on the BC Lions and Blue Bombers game.
Boy meets girl. Boy forgets about football.
I
I'm
didn't
just
forget about
saying.
it. It was
I'm. I was in Vancouver in a bar, and they wouldn't put it on. They had 32 TVs, 32, and they wouldn't put one TV on this Lions game in Vancouver. And the bastards there were all cheering for Edmonton. Ellie was worried. Ellie was worried I was going to get into a fight. I was being kind of every time Edmonton scored, I'd boo. But I did have the game on my phone, and then we left and watched the rest of the game in the room. Fun game to watch, without a doubt.
Yes.
I'll be honest. The Lions didn't look that great.
They didn't.
They really didn't. Although I don't have the stats in front of me, but if you go to if you look at the stats, Adams had another great game. Sorry, I'm pausing as I'm going to the stats so I can actually tell you how great the stats were. They did enough to win.
And is that going to be the MO of this team this year?
You know what? It was
doing
funny
just enough to win.
I was literally thinking it while I was watching this game is they're just going to be good enough to win. And I mean, 400 yards, almost 400 yards in passing, 107 yards rushing, 500 yards net offense for the BC Lions.
Yeah.
And I say they just played good enough to win. Lots of room for improvement. They should have smoked these guys. The Bombers didn't look good. The Bombers are in trouble. They're 0-3, and they didn't look good. They did enough to keep the game close.
They did. My biggest concern looking at the stats here for the Lions is in the red zone.
Yeah.
They went 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Not a point scored. Now, that is misleading because at the end of the game, they were in the red zone and decided to take a knee to run the clock out rather than to try to run up the score.
I want to touch on that.
The other thing, and we've talked about it last week, we will probably talk about it until we go blue in the face. BC Lions won the turnover game. There was only one turnover in the entire game, and it was one fumbled.
Yeah.
And BC got it. BC recovered it. And that might be the difference of the game.
It really might. Going back to the last plays of the game, plural, because it was, they were first and goal from the 1 yard line.
Yep.
And they had enough, I think there was 39 seconds left on the clock, something like that. And quite rightly, they took a knee, and people lost their cotton picking mind. And they're like, oh, the coach, these. I wish I would have pulled these up. The coach doesn't understand the Canadian game. He doesn't understand that its point differential is super important when it's a tie. 2 minutes, 30 seconds of Googling, and I pulled up the schedule, and we played the Bombers 3 times. So if we're tied with the Bombers, point differential will not come into play unless
there's a tie. Which
I can't remember. I think it was 2016 was the last tie in the CFL. Ooh, folks, shut your mouth until you're paid to run a team. Shut up. Enjoy the game. We won the game. These were BC Lion fans that were complaining. They wanted to score. I guess if you're betting on it and you bet over 50, it would kind of suck. I know I would be pissed, but it was the right thing to do. It was a classy thing to do. And
honestly, the worst thing you could have done, and it sounds ridiculous with 36 or 38 seconds, however much time was left, was the Blue Bombers at that point are letting you in the end zone.
Of course they are.
They hope they get the block. And they've got 36 seconds, 32 seconds, whatever it is, to go and score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion and tie the game.
Exactly.
right? That's their game plan at that point.
Or
you don't give them that. You take 2 knees.
do you take the chance? They took 3 knees. Do you take the
3.
chance of hurting your quarterback? Did one of your linemen get hurt?
Well, and not just that, but also Vernon Adams does our short yardage. We don't have a backup quarterback to do that. So Vernon
Exactly.
Adams, who is already banged up with his thumb, just why put him in more danger? Just take a knee, let the clock run.
As I said that, it reminded me. I was at my 40th grad reunion this year, and one of the fellow grads that I graduated, his name is Dan Payne, played quite a few years in the CFL, mostly for the BC Lions, and we were talking, and he was like, "It's like a car crash every play, Kevin." He was lineman. You get a car crash every single play. The chances of being hurt rise drastically when you're first and goal, because they're going to try to stop you with everything they've got.
And you have to try to push them with every might you've got. And that's why, like,
it's not worth it.
Well, and people always are like, oh, it's a contact sport. No. Hockey is a contact sport. Hockey is a contact sport. Lacrosse is a more contact sport than hockey. Football is a collision sport.
Yes.
Because the guy who's running downfield, whether they've got 2 yards to run to you or 20, is running full speed and is trying to run through you.
Yes.
In hockey, there's not too many times that someone's trying to run through you.
No. I mean, does it happen? Yeah, but not like it does.
But not every play.
No. Exactly.
Every single play.
They're trying to hurt you. Every play, they try to hurt you.
And not maliciously.
No, it's just that's just the game.
That's how when someone's running at you full speed and you're running at them full speed, that's what happens.
Exactly.
Moving on to Saturday's game. This was a game that at no point was there more than 7 points between, or 6 points, 7 points between these two teams. It was back and forth, nonstop, and the Argos win it with a walk-off field goal. For the second week in a row, we have had a walk-off field goal to win a game. Both of those games happened to land on a Saturday, I do believe, which is kind of just weird. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Do you think it might be a conspiracy thing?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Not even,
okay,
not even 1 second.
Just wanted to check.
The Argos do pull out a 39-36 victory over the Elks, and both these teams deserve the win. Neither one of these two teams deserve the loss. I was honestly hoping that they'd miss the field goal and Edmonton would just boot it out and try to get out of bounds.
Wouldn't that be fun?
And the game ended in a tie, because that, to me, that's what should have happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch this game at all.
No, this Saturday was our
Was your reunion?
Our reunion. So yeah, no, I didn't get to watch any of it, unfortunately.
I watched some of it and then had a football game to go do, and then I actually ended up watching the last bit of it on replay on TSN.
And honestly, I meant to catch up on the YouTube, but just been a crazy week. It's just one of those weeks where you kind of go. I almost had a liquid lunch. I almost had a liquid lunch today. It came close. If Cody's watching, if Cody's watching, no, Cody was going to come with me if he didn't have a meeting.
Okay.
He had a meeting, so I decided to go and get a whistle dog.
Whistle dogs are back.
Oh my god!
First off, not a sponsor in any way, shape, or form, but God, are whistle dogs great.
Have you tried their frozen root beer with sweet cream?
No, I haven't. I've heard it. I've tried their frozen root beer without sweet cream.
Try it with sweet cream.
I've been off of like real dairy products for like the last week, and it's been fantastic. So I don't know if I want to go back to cream, but
it's creamlicious.
All right, we're just going to move on from that comment. Moving on to Sunday's game, where I can honestly say I saw 0 minutes and 0 seconds of this game. We had the Riders continue to stay on top of the West, winning by a score of 36-20 when they hosted the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
They deserved it. They earned it. Really, the question that is going to come out of this game more so than the Riders, are the Riders real? They have pretty much, you can't take it away from them. They're 3-0. Is more so, what do the Ticats do?
It's a very good question. However, we have a little bit more breaking news.
Oh, more breaking news. We should have like a noise button or something for breaking news. Oh, look at that. You got a button.
I've got a button that says breaking news. As per Frank Saravelli, the full details of the trade are Ilya Mikheyev, a 2027 second-round pick, and pending UFA Sam Lafferty for a 2027 fourth-round pick, and the Canucks do retain 15% of the salary.
Okay.
So earlier there was talk.
You said 1-5, not 5-0.
1-5.
That's not bad.
No, because that's
$400,000.
$400,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Under $1 million, $600,000 or so.
Yeah. Nice.
So not a bad retention there. Sorry to cut you off while we're talking.
No,
CFL.
it's good. We got breaking news. You got to break in. That's the way it works.
That's why I broke in with the breaking news.
Every time I see that, I think of it was way before your time. It was the first Gulf War, and CNN became famous. There were some little 24-hour news station that was horrible at the time. Nobody watched them, and they're
great now.
Well, and they're not great now, but they're big. They're big now because of that Gulf War, and
because if I'm correct,
I can't think of his name right now, but he's still on there.
Anderson Cooper?
I think it was Cooper. Anyways, it was one of them. They're like, come to me, we have bombs. I never forget it. It was just one of those.
But now,
back in the 90s.
The problem with breaking news is everything's breaking news now, so nothing's breaking news. It's just news.
But we are breaking news.
This is breaking news from Frank Saravelli.
So breaking news.
Okay, back to the CFL talk, because let's face it, we've talked to people's ears off for almost an hour now. Yeah. We do want to wrap up. I'm just opening up a file here so that way we can.
Because I think it's time. Is it time?
It is not time for your favorite segment. No.
Charlie, you are an old guy. Obviously, it was Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf Blitzer.
It was Wolf Blitzer. Come to me. Bombs. It was cool.
That's wild. However, it is now time for the Hughes Sports Power Rankings after 3 weeks in the CFL.
Where's the music?
Where are we?
We're supposed to have music this week.
Yeah, where's my music? Where's my ads?
You
got 2 jobs. 2 jobs.
I did one job and I couldn't get it done. You're the music guy.
That's true. Well, we have numbers showing through here. That shouldn't be showing. That might give away where people are. In the bottom of the league, we have the number 9, the Edmonton Elks.
Ooh.
Despite putting on a performance where, again, I still think they should have won.
Yeah.
They keep finding ways to lose.
That's why I'm surprised you put them last. Okay.
But they keep finding ways to lose. If you keep finding ways to lose, how can you be a winner?
Yeah.
In 8th place, we have the Ottawa Redblacks, who are actually 2-0. Or why aren't the Ottawa Redblacks updated? What happened here? Moving on. Ottawa Redblacks in 8th. In 7th place, we have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You have that look of confusion again, old man.
Your power rankings.
Not only that. No. Let me. For those just listening, you heard the exhale out of his nose through his microphone.
I did.
That little whistle. That little whistle. It wasn't wind. It was literally an exhale of a sigh through the old man's nose. It has its own wind tunnel. It's got its own conditions in there.
It's big, man. Look at that thing. Well, of course I'm confused.
Correct.
How can you put Winnipeg in 7th? Like, that's the most ridiculous power rankings. I'm gonna fire you as the power ranker.
In 6th place, we have the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who, again, just keep finding ways to lose. But I, for some foolish reason, still have belief that Bo Levi will figure it out.
Okay.
Because you have to believe.
Believe. Oh, I like it. Carry on.
Maybe he'll have a heel turn and become Uncle Howdy.
Well, you got the
Number-
bottom 4 incorrect. Let's see if you can get the top 4 correct.
Number 5. Well, that's okay, yeah. The Calgary Stampeders are in 5th. Well, there's 5 teams up top. That's Calgary Stampeders did not play this week, so they just stayed 5th. In 4th, we have the BC Lions. In 3rd, we have the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In 2nd, we have the Toronto Argonauts. And in 1st, we have the Montreal Alouettes.
So you know what this power ranking shows me? You know what I'm going to call this week?
What?
This is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
I don't agree with any of them except for Montreal being number 1.
Okay.
Other than that, you fucked them all up, Jake.
I tend to disagree with you completely.
Obviously, they're your power rankings. Can we change it from Hughes power rankings to Jake's power rankings?
Well, I would, but
I don't want to be associated with this crap.
Well, again, as the host, it's my show. As the co-host, you get your old man prediction segment. You can do whatever the fuck you want with that. I have the Hughes Sports power rankings because I am Hughes Sports.
Fine. You go ahead and have your Hughes Sports power rankings. Even if I'm going to post those tonight. Jake is going to send me that. And I'm going to post those on Chatter. CFL Chatter, folks. Go there. It's fun.
Yeah, because Facebook groups are a way of
I'm going to tell you not one person will agree with those rankings.
I could have it. You agree with it and no one else would agree with it. I agree with it. I'm in the group. Therefore, bet taken. I will bet you $1,000. However, folks, before we wrap up tonight, it is everyone's favorite segment.
Oh, it is by far the best. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
I never said I wasn't delirious. I'm an irrational fan. Irrational fan.
I would have put BC up in number 1. You can't even use that as an excuse.
We're not. No, I'm irrational. I'm not like batshit crazy insane. I might be delirious. I'm not certifiable. Very different. There are very different certifications here. However, it is time for, you guessed it,
it's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do? Do-do-da. Do-dee-do.
That is right, everyone. It is time for the old man predicts. Let's see how he did. Do-do-da. Do-dee-do.
How did I do?
For the first time this season, the old man went a clean sweep, putting him at an overall score of 9-3 and a weekly record going to 1 win and 2 losses.
But look at those numbers, 9-3. If I was a betting man, I'd be rich.
However, we cannot condone betting. We cannot talk about betting on the podcast.
I said if I was. I didn't say I was.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. So this week, coming in to the Lions Den are the Edmonton Elks tomorrow at 7 p.m. Who are we taking in that game, old man?
If anybody, I'm just going to CFL Pick'em, which we're allowed to talk about because
We're allowed to talk about CFL Pick'em. Yep.
Pick'em. Whoa, I guess there's 10% of the people who use Pick'em are diehard Elk fans because only 10% of people think the Elks are going to win. And of course, I'm taking the Lions.
Again, I don't disagree with you. Obviously, Lions is the team. I'm wearing them on my chest right now. But the Lions constantly just barely find ways to win. and the Elks constantly find ways to lose. So the reversal of fortune might just be that the Elks fluke their way into a victory.
I think this one's going to be the blowout of the week. I think
Really?
the Lions win by 30.
Wow.
Just
That's a
putting it out
bold
there.
prediction. Then we go into what should be a super fun and competitive game in Toronto. We have the Alouettes taking on the Argonauts. Friday at 4:30 Pacific time. It's an early start. I don't like it.
But it is 7:30 in Toronto, right? The game is in Toronto,
yeah.
right? I guess they could have gone to 8. Would that have made you happier? They can't really go past 8 o'clock start time.
But
right?
you're going at 5:30. You're competing with.
But it's 2 Eastern teams.
It 100% is. 100% is. But you're
Right.
going up. In my opinion, you need to go earlier or later. Earlier makes no sense because you can't. I mean, you could because it's again back east.
Yeah.
But you're competing up against the first round of the NHL draft. Now that doesn't sound like it's a competitive atmosphere for ratings. In Canada, I truly believe it is. The first round of the draft, I think, is going to be more viewed
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the Alouettes Argonauts game this early in the season.
I don't think they're moving it because of that, but I have no problem with the starting time. This one, interesting. 73% are taking the L's, which leaves 27% taking the Argos. I've taken the L's.
The L's are taken. I definitely think the Alouettes are a better team, but I also think that Dukes on any given Friday, can pull out a victory.
Friday Night Lights, man. He's an American. It's Friday Night Lights. This could be his big show.
And talking about a big show, this is the game that I think could be the game of the week. We have the winless Winnipeg Blue Bombers going in to take on the 1-win Calgary Stampeders.
This one, folks, is a coin toss. I went back and forth when I was making this pick, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to take the Winnipeg. They're going to break out and win one." I'm staying with the Stamps on this one. I think the Bombers are going to end up 0-4, and as our old guy, as he says, I'm not calling him old. He called himself old. Yeah, I'm old, he said. Charlie says Winnipeg had some crucial defense, key offensive players missing. I don't know if they're back. I know Oliveira was back for that game.
I think is still missing.
Yeah. So, Winnipeg's in trouble this year. They didn't make enough changes. We talked about it last week, and it's proven out. So, Winnipeg goes 0-4. Stamps end up going 2-3. No, they'll be 2-2. No, they won't. They'll be. What are they? They didn't play last week, so they're 2 we're only in week 3, so they're 1-1 right now. They'll be 2-1.
Yeah, they'll be 2-1.
Yeah.
And then we go into Sunday where the Ottawa Red Blacks hosts the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Believe. Not going to happen. I think once again, 4 down Bo, it will turn the ball over way too many times, and we'll hear the famous Bo Levi, shut your mouth. And Red Blacks will take it over.
All right. So week 4 predictions from the old man are the BC Lions, the Montreal Alouettes, Calgary Stampeders, and Ottawa Red Blacks.
Take it to the bank.
Now, if you are watching live, we appreciate you chiming in, tuning in, commenting. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see what we're doing here. And do also hit that little bell. That little bell tells you every time we go live. Anytime we post an event. We usually try to post these in the morning on Wednesdays, but not always possible with work schedules because we do have full-time jobs. This isn't our full-time job as much as we wish it was. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that little red heart, like the tweet, share it to your followers, hit that retweet, and do give us a follow. We will see you beautiful human beings here on the channels, on YouTube and Twitter or X or whatever it is you want to call it. Next Wednesday, you can find us everywhere on social medias at HSP_pod. You can find me at JStreams. That's JEH Streams. You can find the old man at OldManHSP. And until next week, have yourselves a wonderful week. Go Lions, go. Mwah.